All the answers are in the books, if you know where to look. Welcome back, my fellow gamers. This is Top 10 Gaming, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. We have had 8 books released in the Fazbear Frights series, and it seems like the hits are just going to keep on coming. Woohoo! More books means more clues towards solving one of the greatest mysteries known to man, the lore of FNAF. Join me as we return to the revelations found amidst these fresh pages as we count down the top 10 Fazbear Frights book theories part 2. And if you missed out on part 1, check it out too because it's pretty fun. Alright, now let's get counting. Number 10. Michael Afton wasn't really scooped. This is a theory just based off of the parallels that we see between the two characters. One, a night guard from the books, another, Eggs Benedict, aka Michael Afton in Sister Location. Both work at Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, but Eggs Benny works as a technician, and Stanley works as a security guard. Both work the night shift there. Michael has his body scooped and is worn out like a skin suit by Ennard. Stanley has his body filled with mini Renas each night while he sleeps on duty and ends up taking them out, hidden within his body. Of course, how they move to different parts of his body and escape his stomach without somehow killing him, we don't really know. But, you know, FNAF logic. Michael was scooped for goodness sakes, and somehow he still survived the process. MatPat suggests that not only are there similarities about these two characters, but he himself takes the theory a step farther by offering that the story is more a supplement for what really happened to Michael, giving us something a little more realistic. That slowly over time, as Michael worked each night, the animatronics were filling up his body with parts so that he would be able to remain alive, to take them all outside and help them escape after that last night. Still, not super realistic, but definitely more realistic than getting scooped, I guess. Number 9, Foxy Bro is Michael Afton. I once again have to give credit for this one to the brilliant, the one and only MatPat. Of course, I'm still wondering if there might be an even deeper connection to be found in the books between Michael Afton and Crying Child as well, but I think more of those connections come from the survival logbook. But I digress. What proves that Foxy Bro, aka Pete Dinglewood in the books, is Michael Afton? What connects Pete to Mike? Gum. And of course, the color purple. We believe the logbook of course belonged to Mike, and it's there that we find mention of him chewing gum excessively. While in the title story, Step Closer from Fazbear Frights issue number 4, we also see a connection in the fact that both characters turn purple and ultimately wind up seemingly dead, though somehow miraculously still alive. Or in Pete's case, at least, still conscious. Both of these connections seem to imply a connection between Peter and Mike, as both of their stories mirror each other's, implying that while Pete is connected to Foxy Bro from the games as a bully brother, Foxy Bro and Mike are also connected. Number 8, Balloon Boy's Hypno Powers. In the story Sergio's Lucky Day, out of the 8th Fazbear Frights book, Gumdrop Angel, we meet Sergio, a businessman who works too hard and, while successful, is unhappy with his life. One day he stumbles upon a Lucky Boy toy, named for the phrase on the t-shirt it wears, which reads, "I'm a lucky boy." The description of the toy seems to match that of Balloon Boy, and it seems to have influence over Sergio, convincing him of what is best for him to do. At first, these just seem like suggestions that Sergio is willing to entertain, and that also align with probably his own inner thoughts and feelings. But in the end, Sergio follows Lucky Boy's advice without any hesitation, even when he suggests that Sergio turn to self-mutilation to win over the woman of his dreams. This seems to imply that Lucky Boy has some kind of hypno powers, which we've seen other animatronics in the books display before, influencing the thoughts of those people they interact with or come across. If this is true, it makes me wonder if Balloon Boy, who Lucky Boy appears to be a smaller version of, might also possess these powers. Does Balloon Boy also have hypno powers? I wonder. Number 7, who's really possessing Golden Freddy? This theory comes to us from the story The New Kid out of Fazbear Frights book number 3, 1:35 a.m. Here we learn that there might be more going on with Golden Freddy than we had initially anticipated. We meet a boy named Kelsey, who is a new kid at the protagonist's school. Kelsey is popular and well-liked, but also makes friends with 2 other kids who are outcasts, the other main characters of the story. In the end, one of them, the the main protagonist, we could say, Devin, gets jealous and plots to scare Kelsey by trapping him in a Golden Freddy suit left in an abandoned Freddy's pizzeria. However, this all goes horribly wrong when Kelsey seemingly is killed by the spring locks in the suit, which of course malfunction, but in the end the guilt ends up leading Devin to return to the pizzeria and causes him to get his arm stuck and crushed in the Golden Freddy's jaw. What he sees within the suit seems to suggest that both Kelsey, who is likely a stand-in for Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, and the crying child might both haunt this animatronic. Number 6. Golden Freddy, robots in disguise. Maybe? To continue on this theory, I have my own twist as to what could really be going on with Kelsey and Golden Freddy. The story of the new kid also seems to imply that Golden Freddy is in fact Kelsey, at least in a way. What I mean is that somehow Golden Freddy was able to change form and perhaps disguise himself as a human boy for the purpose of luring others into his trap, or at least create some kind of manifestation that was Kelsey, because I know they both exist in the same place at the same time, but just hear me out. The points that suggest that Kelsey is the true spirit of Golden Freddy, or perhaps the animatronic himself, is Devin's reaction to Kelsey, who feels strangely compelled to stab his newfound perfect friend to check if he's a robot, which is pretty weird. And while MatPat suggests Kelsey's eye color could be a reference to the vengeful spirit, the color of blue is also similar to the color of Freddy's eyes. Now, while Golden Freddy only has 2 white pinprick-sized lights for eyes, or is depicted as having no eyes at all, we could surmise that his eye color, if he had proper ones, would be shared with the model he's closest to, the mascot Freddy Fazbear. So his blue eyes could also be another loose connection to Freddy and thereby Golden Freddy. Number 5. Kelsey is Andrew. Okay, one more theory here for you in regards to the new kid story. Some fans seem to think that Kelsey could be some kind of manifestation of Andrew's spirit. They believe the corpse that Devin sees when he looks into the Golden Freddy while his arm remains stuck is actually that of Andrew's, and that Andrew was one of the victims of the man in room 1208, who is likely William Afton. Andrew is a vengeful spirit who attached his soul to the man who hurt him, so that he'd never be able to pass on or achieve peace. It's believed that Andrew could have at some point been attached to Golden Freddy and could be the crocodile-masked victim. Another theory, as Andrew's spirit is seemingly gone now, is that Andrew's anger-filled touch at one point infected Golden Freddy, making it lash out, seeking vengeance, and causing the spirits within it to become more aggressive and murderous. To become vengeful spirits. Number 4. The FNAF 3 protagonist. In the final story in the newest Fazbear Frights book, number 8, Gumdrop Angel, we meet Hudson. Hudson ends up working as one of the security guards for the Fazbear Fright attraction. Like the protagonist in FNAF 3, he is plagued by hallucinations, which seem to prey on his fears. This has caused fans to speculate that Hudson, from what we found, could be the protagonist that we play as in FNAF 3. Number 3. Hallucinations come to life. Another important fact to note from the story What We Found, featured in the Gumdrop Angel Fazbear Frights book, is that Hudson seems to actually be injured by his hallucinations. Not only that, but his hallucinations differ somewhat from what we experience in the game. Hudson has a tragic backstory, and a lot of his hallucinations revolve around that: the death of his family, the mistreatment he suffered as a kid, and him being bullied by students and teachers alike while at school. This makes us wonder if he's really the protagonist from the games at all, and could perhaps be a different security guard instead. It also makes us wonder if this story, or even any of the Fazbear Fright stories, take place in the same universe as the games, or are considered perhaps an alternate reality. Another important difference in the hallucinations, it's implied that they end up killing him. He is brutally beaten before he seeks refuge from the ghosts, animatronic parts, and Springtrap in the kitchen's oven. Someone or something then seems to have turned the oven on, which causes Hudson to die, cremated alive. Unless you want to assume that the oven somehow malfunctioned, I don't know. Now, in the game, hallucinations could seemingly not hurt you, unless maybe they were more deadly than we were led to believe. Number 2, Evan is the crying child. MatPat did a video all about the idea that Evan is the name of Crying Child. This was actually based on evidence people on Reddit had pointed to from the survival logbook, but this evidence was questioned by MatPat, who suggested that it kind of sounded less stable due to confirmation bias, where people found something compelling and then rather than try to make sure the evidence leading us there was actually quite sound, were more focused on finding more evidence to support what they thought to be true. That's what confirmation bias is, when instead of looking at all the evidence and trying to figure out what's right, you kind of get wrapped up in the idea of like finding evidence that points what you believe to be true. Either way, Evan was the name that was found in the logbook and was the name fans theorized belonged to Crying Child. And while MatPat commended people for finding this evidence, he didn't think the theory was super solid, but he did think that the books might be nudging us in the direction that confirmation bias also was. In the story The Real Jake from the 6th Fazbear Frights book, Blackbird, Jake is the son of Evan. Jake's story not only shares parallels with Crying Child, but his father, Evan, has a brother, and his brother's name? Michael. Number 1, William Afton's grandson? So if this is true, that Evan is Crying Child, the younger brother of Michael, aka Foxy Bro, and the son of William, then that would mean that Jake from the story of The Real Jake is also William Afton's grandson. What's more, this Jake is heavily implied to also be the Jake that we meet in the epilogue stories from the books, the one who ends up sharing the body of the Stitch Wraith with the spirit of Andrew, and who inevitably becomes the sole inhabitant of the dressed up endoskeleton that we know as Stitch Wraith. Jake is also seen as the lighter spirit, as the more positive spirit who only wants to do what is right. Is it possible that the Stitch Wraith and William's grandson could be the key to truly defeating him once and for all? What are some of your favorite stories from the Fazbear Frights series? Do you prefer the FNAF novel trilogy or the anthology styling of the Fazbear Frights series? What character from the books would you want to see integrated into the games? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Top 10 Gaming, and I am your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you as always to keep on gaming on. Pew pew! We have had 7 books, wait, or is it 8? Oh dear. Oh dear, I can't even keep track of how many books we've had released from Fazbear Frights. Is it 7 or is it 8? Is it 7 or is it 8? I'm gonna look it up right now so that I actually know. Yeah, we're on book number 8, baby. Not 7. 7 is a lie. 7 is a lie.